Welcome to Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. Guys, it's the end of the year, and I believe the final racket has just been released, and I have just tried it. So, decisions on top racket of this year. Stay tuned. Guys, we all know Direct Tennis is your space for finding a tennis stringer in your neighborhood. And if you are a stringer yourself, join their network. Become a Direct Tennis stringer. But they have now opened up a big online store. Check out the store and you'll see they'll have the WhiteOut version 2, the Clash version 3, the Pure Drive, plus all the rackets that are in line currently. Check out their online store at directtennis.online. All right, guys, end of the year is here. I believe the Solinco BlackOut is the final racket that's going to be released this year. And man, it was a long year for rackets, a long good year for rackets, because a lot of great ones came out. So we're gonna actually start with beginning of the year and then go until the end, and then start talking about my favorites of this year, and then end with my top rackets of 2025. All right, so the year started with a bang. Actually, it started with this racket. Everybody saw Yonex on the Australian Open playing with this racket in this color, and it pops out, right, guys? It got a lot of attention. It actually catapulted Yonex to being one of their top sellers. They kept running out of this racket this year. So you guys probably own some now, or a bunch of you out there. The standard 98 and 100 was pretty much hard to get all year long. If you were able to get a couple of them, hey, great for you. But started with a bang, Ezone. We like the 100 more than the 98, but the only reason why we didn't like the 98 was it was just a smidge muted, just a smidge. The 100 had more feel, the 100 had more sound, the 100 felt like it had a little more power. I am holding the 100 plus because I have none right now in 98s or 100s, so I'm waiting. But started off with a bang with this one, and then came the Solinco WhiteOut, in which we were all pretty impressed. Coach Goo, myself, and a lot of other people, like Coach Jared even, would have considered using this. I myself switched from a 28-inch racket to a standard version of this WhiteOut version 2. So I was surprising myself. Goo naturally made the change. What they did to this racket was stiffen it up a little bit, make a little more power, or else I would not have been able to use it. So I did make the change to this for a reason, because it was more powerful. Okay? Then came SX series from Dunlop, in which Coach Jared made the change to the tour version of this in the 98. So we were very, very impressed with this racket. The plow, the extra power you got, that's where the trend of the 98s are going. Little thicker, little easier power, little bit more to back you up. Think of like an Alcaraz's racket, right? Aero 98. Little more help here, but a little more plow in this one though than an Aero 98. Like, that's why Coach Jared made the change. So we just kept getting more impressed and impressed as we went along during the year. And I'm just showing you the highlights of this year and what impressed us. There were obviously more rackets than this that came out. So these were our candidates for racket of the year. Pure Drive. The whole Pure Drive line felt a little stiffer. They felt a little bit better. We were impressed with the update. Coach Jared actually was going to use the 16 by 20 and the 98 coming from the 16 by 19 in previous versions, but he couldn't do it. For some reason, this was hurting his left wrist of all things. So he couldn't do it, but this was definitely a great update for everyone. I feel like the colors definitely help accentuate the Pure Drive along with the black, right? But yeah, some great update from Pure Drive. And then we have Diadem. So Diadem sends me rackets, whenever they have a new one, and I test them out, and then I tell you guys what I think. This Axis, when I first touched and felt it, I'm like, oh, great, another Aero 98, or another Aero 100, or another Aero Team. But they called it the Axis 98, the Axis 100, and the Axis Team. This, I deem the magic racket, because when you swing this racket, you're very surprised, and magic happens after it. Everybody I've given the Team to and the 100 to have automatically made a switch. But I'm very selective as to who I give these rackets to, because, if you're an Aero, Pure Drive, Ultra, Clash, Shift kind of a player, this racket is an easy switch. You will find everything that you're missing in those rackets with the Axis line of rackets. The Team, the 100. Easy. Even the 98, if you're an Aero 98 user, definitely give it a shot. So Axis surprised us a lot. Then our friends at Nordic Dots sent us a couple rackets that they call the 98S and the 98 Pro. What I'm holding here is the 98 Pro. And the only one in all of the rackets we have here that is an 18 main pattern, right? They cross it with 19 crosses though. Not many rackets like that. Either 1619, 1620, 1820. This is 1819. There might only be one racket by Technofiber on the market with an 1819, and that's the 305 T-Fight. We were super impressed with this racket. Think player stick with more power, a little more stiffness. Usually think prestige, but stiff prestige. Controlled power is how we can deem this. We all love this racket. The only thing is you can't buy it from us. So we literally have to send everybody to Nordic Dots to use our discount code to buy the racket. So Nordic Dots started with a 99, then with a 100, and then finally with a 98, which is exactly what I wanted them to do. So great job, Nordic Dots. If you're a player looking for control, but stiff control, definitely give this 98 Pro a shot. All right. And finally, the racket that ends out the year, BlackOut Camo version 2, 100. Guys, this is exactly what I've asked for. I've worked with them for the last couple years. Tested variations of this racket all of last year. So they take their time making rackets, taking all the feedback back, and then producing rackets. So this is what they came out with. And I kept asking, no foam, no foam, leave the foam out, hollow as hell, loud as hell is what I kept telling my buddies over there. I was like, I want to hear it, I want to feel it. But I guess the consensus was, well, we got to save people's arms. You know, we got to foam fill a little bit. Ain't everybody like you, you know? Ain't everybody wanting it loud like you? I was like, all right, fine, I get it. So great update with this. Definitely a little more power, definitely a little more stiffer. If you use the old BlackOut, you're gonna love the version 2. That's all I gotta say. So test this one out. Definitely a top racket of the year. So here's the thing about this year though. I'm gonna categorize the rackets in different forms, okay? So obviously my 98 pick is the Nordic Dots 98 Pro. Great 98. If all 98s could be like this, I'd say I'm in, right? If they could make it 16 by 19 for me, I'm definitely in, okay? So top racket, top 98 for the year. Now, the top racket for 100 that's lighter, that's 10 ounces, guys, right there, Axis team. Now, anybody can play with this Axis team, which is interesting to me. I give these to people who are 5.0s and they can hit it. I give these to people who are women 3.5s, they can hit it. I give a standard weekend warrior 4.0, they can hit it. And it doesn't matter that it says team right there, which is interesting to me. I literally can hit it because of the way they balance it and the way they make it flex. So top racket for 10 ounces right here. All around, anybody can play with this. Like seriously, try this racket. And of course, the last racket that came out during the year, in my opinion, is the best racket. So right here, BlackOut version 2, 100. Exactly suits my specs. And you know, I just, am I gonna switch? Nah, you know, maybe, but I'm gonna give it a little more time first. But it's been like, I've been testing it for 3 weeks already in its final version here, and I'm liking it more and more I play with it. So guys, I don't just choose these rackets because I just choose these rackets. Like, I can choose any racket here. Like, people say, oh yeah, you love Solinco, or you love Diadem, or you love Nordic Dots because they pay you. No, they don't, okay? Let's get that straight. They don't pay me, all right? They take care of me in certain ways, but I don't get anything monetary from them. So I can use anything I want, right? I can easily say Blade, right? And other YouTubers out there, well, maybe they only have access to Wilson, Yonex, Babolat, Head. Maybe that's all they have access to. Therefore, their top 10, their top 3, their top 5 are of those, because those are the easy answers, and they don't get to try the range of rackets that I get to try. So I'm very fortunate in that, you know, I'm a kid in a candy store and get to choose any candy I want. And that candy is called a tennis racket. So those are my choices, believe it or not, okay? But I think you should definitely test them out if you're in the market for new rackets. All right, guys, thank you for watching Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis.